Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror film reviews, ratings, rankings, and rumors. Now for your hosts, Danny, Joel, and Katrina.
All right. This is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with Katrina the Creature.
I was thinking I was going to be a creature, but I wasn't sure how you were going to tie it in.
Yeah. And then we got Jupiter Joel.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay.
Jupiter.
Yeah, outer space.
I'm a whole planet. All right.
All right. So on the third day of Christmas.
I'm scared.
ScareMas.
Dang it! On the third day of ScareMas, my true love gave to me John Carpenter's The Thing.
The Thing.
1982.
I wish it was 3. I would have rhymed.
Yeah.
Me, 1983. But it's 82.
All right. So who is a part of this one?
All right. So this one stars Kurt Russell. He was in Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Backdraft, The Fox and the Hound, and 3,000 and 3,000 Miles to Graceland.
And Christmas Chronicles.
Yeah, he was Santa in both of those movies. Yeah. And also he was in Miracle, which was an honorable mention for my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, okay.
Still love that movie, yeah. And then we got Wilford Brimley. He's Dr. Blair. He's actually known as a meme these days as the diabetes guy because he mispronounced the word diabetes in like a movie or show years ago, and it's a meme now. So,
okay.
Well, that's how my dad pronounces it. Diabetes.
Oh, really? Diabetes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and he also pronounces tomatoes.
Me tomato. He was in Cocoon the Return, Murder in Space, and 46 episodes of Our House. It's like an 80s show. And then we got Keith David. He's Childs in this movie. Yeah. And I could go on forever with this guy because he's done around 400 things on his filmography. So
he was who I recognize the most aside from Kurt Russell.
Yeah. He was in They Live, another John Carpenter movie. 74 episodes of Gargoyles, the animated show. Wow. Yeah. I think he was the main character in that.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. 60 episodes of a show called Greenleaf, which I think is a Netflix show. And the upcoming horror movie, which we don't know when it's coming out, Shelby Oaks. He's going to be in that.
Oh, nice.
And he was most recently in Nope for a minute.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As the dad who gets killed. So he's been in, finding stuff from him to talk about was like, wow. Because I could list a bunch of stuff. He's done a lot of like voice acting, like video game stuff too.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. And this was written by Bill Lancaster. He did the screenplay. He did the Bad News Bears, the original like 70s Bad News Bears Go to Japan, and the Bad News Bears TV show for 22 episodes. It's like literally everything that he's done. That and The Thing.
Weird.
So
wow. Wow.
And this was directed by Johnny Boy, John Carpenter. He directed The Fog, Christine, and They Live.
All right.
Halloween also, but we've already talked about that a million times. So,
Okay, so a research team in Antarctica is hunted by a shape-shifting alien that assumes the appearance of its victims.
Oh man!
All right, Katrina.
Yes.
Tell us about
the ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes gives this fresh score. It is at 85% for the tomato meter.
Nice.
Dang.
And the audience score is 92%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is definitely a fan
is
favorite.
a
Yeah.
liked movie for sure.
Yep.
And then IMDb has it at an 8.2.
Yeah.
One of the highest scores like for a horror movie.
Yeah,
I feel like.
especially that
Yeah.
we've done.
That we've done, yeah.
Yeah, and like I feel like the classics get higher scores. But also like I feel like almost like slower movies get higher scores on IMDb.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of like foreign films that have really high scores and just like again more classic, which has
The
more
Shining
of
is a
that
pretty slow. That's got a
yeah.
high score
Yeah.
too.
It's probably in the
So-
8s.
Yeah.
I don't think The Exorcist is in the 8s, and I don't think Halloween is in the 8s. Pretty sure those are
I
in
think
the 7s.
Halloween's in the 8. I thought that was like in the high
Could be
eights.
wrong.
But so people like The Thing more than Halloween. Wow.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So we'll start with me this time with this one.
Okay.
So I'm not a big sci-fi fan, and this is definitely a sci-fi horror movie.
Mhm.
It has to deal with aliens and stuff, and so I've seen this movie twice from beginning to end. So first time I tried to watch it was a few years ago, and I fell asleep. Next time I watched it all the way through, and then this time watched it all the way through. And I've had different like thoughts on it each time I've watched it. And this time around, I will say that I liked it, but I do think it's not as great as its reputation. But I'm not a big sci-fi horror fan. So it's not necessarily my thing. I do think for what it is, for what it goes for, like it's pretty perfect for what it goes for and the story it tells. But I just don't really like that kind of stuff. So if you're not big into sci-fi horror, you might not like this as much as others who hold this up so high. But it's still worth a watch.
It's basically Alien on Earth. Like it's they're both like in isolated areas, but aliens in space, and this one's in Antarctica.
Well, and that's the other thing. I like isolated movies, but I need to be able to put myself in that place in order to really connect with it. And I'll never find myself in the middle of Antarctica at a science research station. It kind of is hard for me to like really connect with the movie when I'm just never going to be there.
Well, it doesn't have to be Antarctica.
Like space movies.
You could find yourself in an isolated area anywhere really on Earth. But but I think the thing that separates us from what you're feeling about sci-fi movies is that most of them take place in space, and you're never going to be in space. Like that's but you could find yourself in an isolated area. And
in the snow.
Well, a lot of the movie, right? I can't relate to the like freezing temperatures and like the fear that comes with that. Being left outside in the freezing cold to the point where you might die or you will. Die.
Well, and how they were like, no human's going to be able to get to from there to there in this weather.
Yeah, the weather, like,
and because there was like whiteouts, and there was like,
and like a movie like The Lodge is, does take place in a very, isolated area in the snow, but most of the movie is inside the lodge. And The Shining, same thing. Like it's in the snow and everything. That's why they can't leave the hotel. But most of the movie takes place inside the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know. I find myself just kind of like not caring so much when it's movies like that, like space, underwater, on a big ship, in like, in the history, like in the past, you know, where it's like really old. Yeah. So I don't know. And that's just a preference of mine.
Yeah.
It's not to say that there's anything wrong with that or the movie itself.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of me. So take that with, you know,
How
for
you
what
will.
it is. And the effects, though, amazing.
Yeah.
I really like the effects. It's, you know, it's dated because it's, you know, from the 80s.
Yeah.
But it's all practical.
Like early 80s too. So
yeah. There's no CGI here or any digital effects.
Yeah.
It's all real. What's on the screen is what was there when they filmed it.
Yeah.
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 So it was pretty amazing with what they were able to do. With all that. It was wild.
Yeah.
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 Definitely my favorite parts were the wild effects and stuff. So. What about you guys?
Okay, well, I'll go off of what you were saying with the cold.
Okay.
And one of the things that I feel like helped me get into the movie was we were watching this when it was very cold, and I don't use our heater very often in our house, and so I was like snuggled up in my sweatshirt and like freezing cold. My like nose was freezing, and I could feel my just like body freezing cold, and so I felt like part of the movie. I could feel it. And like I thought that they did a really good job at displaying the cold in the movie. I felt like they did a really effective job with like showing, you know, after they'd been inside for a while, they just looked like they'd been inside, you know, they didn't look freezing cold and everything. But when they went outside or when they had any interaction with the cold outside, it was like they had the ice around his hair, and you could see the little bits of ice on their face and everything. And I thought that was really effective. At one point they showed one of the guys with like a mask on that just got covered in snow. And I was like, what the heck was that? Because I didn't realize he had like this face mask on, and I thought like he just put this like skeleton thing on. And I'm like, what is he doing? But I thought that it was really effective with how they did that. I thought that they made the outside area look very like you could tell that you could tell that it was a storm. You could tell that it was like this super dangerous weather to be walking around in and everything. The way that they walked to the other lab when they were like, we're gonna just go, and it was windy and they're walking through it. They did a really good job like making it very believable. So I thought that was a really like positive point for me. And I could get into it. I mean, not that I've been in like super freezing cold conditions, but I've been in the snow, you know, I've been snowed in where we couldn't leave until a snowstorm passed, and we ended up having to stay an extra week at, you know, the hotel and everything. And so I've been in like weather like that where it's like, and I've gotten caught in like snowy weather where we had to pull over and couldn't go until it cooled, or till like the snow stopped. And so I felt like I could relate to that in a way, you know, not anything like what they were going through, but I felt into that. The part that was hard for me was the whole like the story, like what they were doing. I didn't understand like why they were where they were. And I wanted a little bit more background information of like what was their mission? Why were they there? And
Mhm.
it didn't tell us until like way later in the movie that they weren't going to be able to leave there until like a rescue people came and helped them out or whatever. Like it was just like a very quick start that I was like, okay, wait, what did I miss? Like, what are we doing here? And like,
Yeah.
you're looking into these Norwegians and but how do you know that you're looking into them? And I couldn't connect how everything happened,
Mhm.
how they were getting their information and what they were even doing or looking for. Like
Yeah.
what their purpose or mission was. Eventually the mission became saving ourselves from this thing, right?
Yeah.
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 But yeah, understanding what their mission was, I think would have helped me get into the movie a little quicker.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with that. It seemed like it was kind of one of those movies where it was like you're just kind of a fly on the wall, right? And it didn't explain itself so much. You're just kind of
You're just
there
there.
with them,
Mhm.
and they know what they're there for. They know,
Yeah.
they have all the information. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's yeah.
But
I
in
do
movies
think I
like
would
that,
have
you could
agreed.
add dialogue
Yeah.
between the two so that
Mhm.
then you can infer,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is what they're doing. And they
Yeah.
added
Yeah.
a little bit of that. And then they added more much later that it was like, okay, that would have been useful at the beginning so
Mhm.
that we could have kind of connected with this a little better.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what's really useful?
Tell me.
Zencaster is really useful.
Yeah.
That is the site that we use and the service that we use for doing our podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were originally just audio. Then we decided beginning of this year to do video as well. And so we needed to find a service for that. And we looked around all over, tried a few, and we had some issues with them, or they were like overly pricey. Tried Zencaster, and they were the ones. Good service, quality video and audio, and really easy to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm glad that you have something that you can use that has kind of everything all in one
Yeah.
now, because it would take you so long to go and edit these episodes. And I love doing this together. And it was like, oh my gosh, are you ever going to come to dinner? Are you ever going to come?
Yeah,
So
the editing
now you
has
have
gotten
this.
easy.
Yeah, now you have this Zencaster that everything is like all in one from what I understand.
Yeah, it's really easy to. You just, need to have a computer and a microphone and internet.
Yeah.
And bam.
Yep. And, then
And
you
we
can
can
make a
even
podcast.
we can even bring Joel in
Yeah.
from all
Yeah.
the way away.
Yep. All the way in a different state.
All the way away.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
is there a way that others can get connected with Zencaster?
Yeah. So go to zencaster.com/pricing and use my code ScareTalk. And you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencaster paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experience I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Joel, share your story.
Joel's turn.
About
my
the thing.
story.
Yeah, what's your story?
My story begins. So this was my pick.
Yes.
We needed.
You're responsible for this.
I am responsible for this one, and I'm gladly so. So yeah, this I had only seen it twice as well. This last time I watched today, day of filming, for the second time, and First time was a few years ago, I think. So like, it's not one that I grew up with or anything like that. So I watched it as an adult. But heard like amazing things about it. This is definitely a classic, classic movie for sure. And yeah, we were doing this 12 days of ScareMas, and I was like, it's not a Christmas movie, but it does deal with the winter, and there's going to be a theme for my picks. There's going to be a winter theme for my picks. Not Christmas, but definitely winter. And so we'd never done this one before for some reason. So I was like, yeah, this is a perfect time to to choose the thing. So I think that the acting was amazing. Was really good. For Kurt Russell is always a really good actor, and Keith David. This was only his like fourth thing that he had ever done. Now he's up to like almost 400 things. So this was a very bottom of his. This was like one of his first movies, and he did a really good job in this movie too. The effects are dated, but for what they are, they're amazing. Like Danny was saying, I think my favorite part of this movie is more of the like the mystery behind like who's the thing, who like and I've seen movies and shows with shapeshifters, and it always made it look so easy, like they just turn into them. This one made it more realistic in how that kind of thing would be done. I think like it takes some time. You can't just you're not just going to shapeshift into someone and that's it. Or an animal or whatever. Like it's going to take some time to get to that process. And that process was pretty gruesome, but but pretty awesome as well. And for an alien movie, it made it believable that that's how it would be done if shapeshifters were a thing. So I appreciated that.
I liked how it was shown too, like it showed the science behind it of how like the DNA was like grabbing on to the new body's DNA, and that's how it was like how it was all working when it showed it on the computer and everything. I felt like I got more into it, like, oh my gosh, like more invested by knowing like the science behind what was going on.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't think there was gonna, go a science way in this movie. I just thought it was it's sci-fi, so sci-fi horror. Science is in the name, but but usually it's sci-fi because of aliens, not because of actual science. Like it's so I appreciated that as well, and I love isolated. I love that being in a enclosed space and then someone's like attacking you or something. The cold, the isolation. I knew I was gonna like this movie more than both of you. I know for sure, Danny, probably you too, Katrina, because I know you're not a big sci-fi fan either. I'm not the biggest sci-fi fan, but it's like it's with this one. I enjoyed it. So
I didn't find this movie. And I didn't find this movie to be overwhelmingly sci-fi. I didn't even necessarily like connect it as much as like an alien, as just like a thing, right? Like it was like you didn't know if it was an alien or something that even the Norwegians like created or we didn't know where it came from. It never really said where it came from. And we just knew that there were these things that they were trying to bury, and the thing is like with them adding the scientist in there and having I like science stuff. I don't like the science fiction part.
Yeah.
Science
So-
nonfiction.
Yes, like I want to know like
This is a true story.
the info about it, like the
Mm.
fact that it had that detail. I appreciated that a lot, and I
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
like. I kept going back to that. I loved that scene with like the computer and like, and I loved how it was like, you know, it's an old movie, and so it's like this old fashioned computer, and like so
Yeah.
these little like pixelated images and stuff, and then him calculating out like, okay, what's the percentage of like the likelihood that someone else was infected, and
Yeah.
what's the percentage of people that will be affected if we
That was weird to me, though. It seemed like he was just typing that out. Where
no,
did this
he
come
had
from?
put in, because I mean, you have to just think about it. He's a scientist and they're on
Yeah.
this science mission.
Yeah.
And so he has these calculations that he's like, he input information and then the computer's, you know,
Yeah. Well,
getting
it seemed
the
like he was
information.
just typing the information that was being given to him. Like, it seemed like he was just typing, 75% of the. Like, he was just typing a sentence.
Okay,
was
so
like,
I saw
he's
it
just making this
as
up.
because at one point I was like, wow, this is some really advanced technology that he
Yeah.
has, that he can like get this information so quick. But I mean, part of it is you just have to decide that you're okay with that.
Yeah.
And I kind of saw it as like the Wonka machine, where it's like, how many candy bars are left and where can I find the candy bar? You know, like the little machine that
Yeah.
tells him, now I'm inputting. And you just buy it. You just are
Yeah.
like, okay, they came up with this machine and it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, and it's giving him the information he needs, which helps us go on with understanding the story.
Yeah.
And
the
Mhm.
severity of the situation.
yeah, and why he's like so concerned, and why he knows like how people are being affected and everything. The only thing is, I did kind of like have an issue with how people knew certain things and they came to very quick assumptions.
Mhm.
Like they came to a very quick assumption that more people are possessed, or whatever you want to call it, like
Turning into, or
turning,
have already turned
yeah,
into.
turning, yeah. And they came to a very quick assumption that that people are going to know that they've turned, you know, like I
Mhm.
think it's more likely of an assumption that you wouldn't know that you turned, you know, that you were
Mhm.
affected or whatever.
Yeah.
But there were like just very quick assumptions, and then everyone just went with it. And I didn't
Mhm.
understand why there were certain people that they like automatically trusted and other people that they were like very weary about right away, you know? Like Mac, they just automatically trusted him. And Danny's excuse was because it's Kurt Russell.
Well, and then they didn't, though, at the same time.
Yeah.
At one point, like
At
they were
one
gonna
point,
kill him.
but it took a long time for them to even question him. Like he
Yeah.
was the leader right away, and he was just the pilot. He wasn't even one of the scientists
Mhm.
on the mission. So it was like,
Yeah.
why does he have so much say? Why is he like the leader of the pack?
Yeah.
But
I
it
okay.
didn't, it wasn't like stuff that like affected it to the point where I didn't enjoy it. It was just
Yeah.
like, why is this happening?
I will say to that point where people just kind of caught on pretty quick. I do remember thinking, wow, that was really fast when the doctor in like the early part of the movie, when you see the dog like turn into the thing, and then he turns to one of the other guys and he's like, how long were you with the dog? And he's like,
Yeah.
hour and a half. He's like, oh, okay. And he's like, why? Like, probably nothing. But it's like he knew, like, okay, maybe he already got to you at that point.
Yeah.
And like that was really fast. Like you're really reaching here right now, but you're right, but you're
Yeah. Why would that be like? one of the first things you would think of.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it was like you hadn't even put the information in yet.
Yeah.
And it was like oftentimes you think of, okay, you get affected by being exposed, like by being bitten or something like that. But just being next to it,
Yeah.
that's a quick assumption to come to.
Yeah.
Like,
and
if
the
he
other
asked,
guy
like,
was
were
bitten.
you bit or scratched, or you know, then that would have made more sense for him to question. But
well, we don't know because the dog walks into the room and the screen goes black. Like, that's kind of a weird thing to do. You don't know if, like, maybe because it's through DNA, so the dog could have licked him or something, licked his hand, or like.
Well, he never even got.
He never
infected.
turned.
Yeah,
he never turned.
Yeah,
he just
true.
got killed by
McCready.
It was Matt.
Yeah, because he attacked him. So
he tried to attack him.
But no, he was my favorite character.
No, you get attacked and get shot.
Yeah,
no, he wasn't trying to attack him. He was trying to get him to back down.
He's got a gun.
he ran towards him. That's attacking. Like, you don't run towards a guy with a gun.
Because he was trying to protect Childs.
Yeah.
He thought that he was the thing.
Which I didn't know. Until we looked up the cast, I didn't even know his name was Child. I thought it was Childs.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh yeah,
it was Childs.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Childs.
Child.
Yeah.
Childs. Oh, Childs. Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. With an S.
With a D. Well, and a D.
D and an S. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was Childs with an E.
Yeah. Childs would have been better. Let's drop my score.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, there could be listeners whose last name's Childs.
Oh, is it his last name?
Yeah, his last name's
Childs.
Childs.
His last name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess they were all going by their Matt. Yeah, I guess they were all going by last name.
McCready.
Okay. Well, I don't know. You know, you never know. But I was thinking his first name, like that was his name.
No.
Child. Okay.
That's what.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go by their last.
Anyway, it not a significant thing for me to mention at all.
So
ratings.
All right,
Katrina.
Me first.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna give this 74.
Okay,
74. I liked it. I don't know why it has such high ratings. It's a classic.
It actually had a really bad initial critic reception.
Okay.
It was
when it first came out.
And I think it did really bad, like, as far as the box office and stuff.
Yeah.
When it first came out. But now it's like a cult classic.
Yeah. I mean, the effects are really impressive. Especially for the time period. Because they've aged, but I don't feel like they've aged too much. Like, I don't think that I think it still keeps up.
Yeah.
With like when you're using actual special effects, like not the CGI stuff.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I will say there was a part in this movie that they tried to do in it, I think chapter 2, with like the head and like the little spider legs and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man. So bad in
so
it,
much better,
but because that was CGI and this. So that's the difference between CGI and practical.
Yeah, right when I saw that, I was like, well, and I could see certain things in this movie that I was like, oh, so and so was inspired by this, or such and such was inspired by this. I don't remember what it was now, but I remember the spider thing. I thought of it.
It's it would be interesting to see a reboot of this movie or a remake. I don't know. Reboot
was a remake.
Would be good. That was a prequel that came out in like 2011 or whatever. It's supposed to be a prequel to this. But that would only work if you use practical. You cannot at all use CGI for this type of a movie. Like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So,
well, and they left it open where you could make a second one.
Yeah. Yeah,
I did really like the end. I thought the end was perfect.
Mhm.
Yes, I really like the end. You know what? Talking about it, I'm like, I might want to give it a better score.
This actually is a remake already of a
That's true.
1950s thing, I think.
It's like The Thing from Outer Space or something. I think is what it was called.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but
it's what they're watching in Halloween. The kids.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay, we're gonna have to watch that.
Halloween?
No.
No, I don't want to watch that. Watch Halloween. We can see the beginning of it. Or watch Halloween.
I wouldn't be. I'd be down for the prequel at least to review that one at some point. But
Halloween.
Is there a prequel to Halloween? I don't think so.
Get this guy out of here. Okay, what did I say? I'm going to move mine to
74.
I'm going to move it to 75.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
One point up.
Well, I was thinking about moving it higher. I thought I said 73, so I was going to move it.
No. Well, then move it to 76. You're going to move it to 75. 70, that's 2. So.
Yeah.
For me, I really enjoy this movie. I don't know how often I'd watch it. Just because I've only seen it twice all the way through, and it's been out since '82, so I don't know. But I am gonna give this one an 86.
Nice.
Okay.
It's a good score.
Yeah.
I'll go 78.
All right.
I did like it. I could see myself watching it years. What was that?
So you're inching to that B, but not quite.
Yeah. I could see myself watching it years down the road another time. Something I didn't mention, the music. I did like the music and like the atmosphere. The just very simple dum dum.
Yeah.
Dum dum. Like just that was
like Jaws.
Effective.
Yeah.
I thought that was effective.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to give it a higher score than you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really should have done a higher score. I can't be the first person to rate.
Oh. Too bad.
Oh, well.
Rate with your heart.
I know.
What does your heart say?
Okay, well, that was our review for the John Carpenter's The Thing. And coming up next, tomorrow, we've got a pick from Katrina.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to be doing our lists.
No.
Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Start that over again.
All right. So, coming tomorrow, we have a pick from Katrina. What's it going to be?
We are going to be reviewing the Nutcracker Massacre.
All right.
Whoa.
Get excited about that one.
Christmas is coming to town.
All right. Getting back to Christmas. So, yeah, look out for that one tomorrow.
This has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let the thing bite.
Yeah.
Man, what else?